You're stressing me out. I need a cigarette.
Who here remembers the smoking episode of That's So Raven? Sitcoms have been doing this for ages. They have a one-off episode covering a really serious, controversial topic and call it like a special episode. And special in the fact that they're talking about something topical. Kind of like the modern-day hot take episode. And while TV nowadays doesn't really push a specific agenda, it's leaning more and more away from trying to have a certain stance on anything, makes looking back at this Disney episode super jarring. So That's So Raven Season 4 Episode 22 was actually the final episode of That's So Raven, and a special episode, much in the style of these old sitcoms. So without further ado, let's dive in. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000, covering TV, music, movies, media, and so much more from the 2000s. If you really like the 2000s, don't forget to subscribe because we go over a lot of fun, old nostalgic content.
If your parents ever found out
Cory, please promise me you won't tell my parents or anyone else about this.
So we start the episode with Raven Baxter nagging Cory to doing his chores because he basically doesn't do them.
You picked up fresh milk?
Yes! You make up. Thank you.
And we meet Cory's girlfriend, Cindy, who tells him about smoking, and he kind of has a problem with it. But she's like, no, I'm gonna smoke, it's cool. And it's like, this is what I see in all the infomercials.
Cory, what's the big deal? Lots of my new friends smoke. It's cool.
Cory tries to take them from her, but Raven comes in, nagging him to do the chores.
Oh, you need to take that 2-day-old shirt you got on. That smells as nasty. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the B-plot, Chelsea, Eddie want the casserole that Raven's father made, but apparently it's for the mayor. She says to stay away, but they end up picking out on it.
You heard, Raven, this is for the mayor.
Right, it's for the mayor, Chelsea. It's for the mayor.
Yes.
At the end, they feel horrible and decide to try to make a new one.
Right, but if we're gonna make a new one, won't we need an empty pan?
This empty pan joke is super funny. I just feel like this is such an intense episode to have such a quirky plot line. So Raven finds a cigarette in the laundry that Cory was supposed to do. She actually confronts him about it and already doesn't trust him because he's been basically lying so much.
I was holding it for a friend.
I thought you said you didn't know anything about it.
That was before I knew you found it in my shirt.
But he essentially is like, I can't answer this, sorry. He doesn't out the girl. But Raven has a vision that Cory actually lied, making it harder to believe him. And also, he lied a lot before, so I'm on her side too. She sets out to bust him because she thinks he's lying by going to his room. But meanwhile, David Henry guest stars as Cory's friend, and I did not remember he was that. So Cory and his friend enter the room, and she's like looking to catch him in the act. And she hides under the bed.
I guess this dirty laundry's getting a little ripe.
And throw the dirty laundry on Raven, which is so gross. Can you imagine? The vision ends up coming true, and Raven is like, okay, I know he's a liar. And it's interesting because I feel like the visions don't transpire so quickly. Like, she usually has them and then it comes true by the end of the episode. But in this, it comes true, like, within a scene.
Got him. He is not gonna lie his way out of this one.
She catches her friends trying to remake the casserole, which is, why is this still happening? She tells them about the smoking. And Chelsea points out that it could be just a misinterpretation, which is exactly what we as the audience know it is.
Ray, come on. Whatever the problem is here, smoking is no solution.
But nobody listens to Chelsea because she's kind of the dim-witted one of the group. Chelsea and Eddie end up eating the next casserole too. I don't know why these guys have like zero self-control. Raven ends up grabbing Cory's friends for like an intervention, having them all like line up, which she's like doing him a favor by not telling the parents because obviously I think he would be in trouble for this. But one of these people is his girlfriend, Cindy.
Just needs a little bit of, patience, understanding. Get him.
I hope she sees the error in her ways here, because they all start to tell him how bad smoking is, and it's...
Smoking gives you bad breath.
Bad breath. And what girl is gonna want to be with you if you smell like an ashtray, Cory?
Shaming, it's real. It's like actual facts, and they put it in a really funny way. Because it's such a dark topic that isn't really covered in Disney, so it's like, of course they're gonna throw in the facts, but they're so creative about how they put it in.
Weakens your heart and shortens your life.
Bad lungs, weak heart, and short life. Look, I know.
But Cory keeps denying it, and nobody believes him at this point, which is embarrassing. And they even get Cory's bully to come. Like, Raven, why are you even talking to Cory's bully?
Cory, I had to bring in some muscle.
Get here, Edie. Sit down.
His name's the Juicer, and he's known for juicing people's heads, which as a kid, I thought this was, like, grotesque. Like, I did not want to see it actually transpire, and even the insinuation that he's going to is kind of gross.
First step in solving any problem is admitting that you have a problem. Yeah. For instance, I have a problem. I love squeezing kids' heads. But at least I admit it, Cory. And you need to admit you're smoking.
So Cindy ends up admitting before Cory does that they were hers. She promises to never do it again because all of this stuff everybody said was meaningful and she understood it, which is really good for her. And Cory obviously feels proud of his girlfriend, and it's kind of like a really nice relationship dynamic.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for getting you in trouble.
That's okay, Cindy.
But the juicer gets mad because he can't juice, which, good, sir, you shouldn't be juicing. And he ends up doing it to the cigarettes. And it ends up being this black goop, which I always thought was crazy, but it really does make me not want to smoke. Chelsea and Eddie admit that they had the casserole, and then they ate it, and then they had it again.
Thank goodness. Yeah, then we ate that one too.
Got a little hungry. But look, it's all right. Because, we made another one, and it's right in there on the counter, cooling down right.
I don't know why they would tell him about all the extra times they had to remake it. So this is, like, finally the end of all the conflict. It's a great episode. Like, I would show this to students at a school because I think it's so well done. It's not condescending, and it feels like we're learning something, as well as being, like, a really important Disney Channel episode. See, this episode is very tonally off-putting because it wasn't super common for Disney Channel to tackle super serious topics up until this point. They used to do this in old sitcoms where they would call them special episodes when really it's just them covering a more controversial topic than they're used to. When Where's the Smoke aired as the final episode, it just kind of created a little bit of confusion because it's like, this is the last thing that aired. I mean, at the time, we weren't formally looking at finales. These episodes would just replay in syndication, so it didn't really matter if they had a conclusive story. And it's not so Raven. It's not trying to do this overall narrative, but it was controversial nonetheless. I mean, taking on these topics, telling people not to smoke, it's a really good message. And having it have such a comedic twist is definitely in its favor.
Eddie, come on, dude. No, look, we can't.
But we must.
Okay, we can always make another one.
I'm not used to seeing these kind of topics covered in tween TV. Like, there's no iCarly episode where Spencer's smoking, there's no cigarettes even seen in any of, like, the kids' shows. And even further down the line, the controversial episodes kind of got away with it when they got to Girl Meets World and a little bit in Zack and Cody, but for the most part, they never really tackled these controversial topics again.
I mean, are we supposed to believe that sweet little innocent Cindy here is the one smoking?
Actually, Eddie, a lot of girls nowadays are smoking. That's a nasty little habit you got going on.
I do applaud Disney, though. I feel like they are the first ones to actually do this. Like, sure, Teen Nick has gotten some mature-type episodes, but this is directly responding to something that was popular in the culture, which was a really big deal. Having That's So Raven be about a girl who could see into the future and enacting this trigger to cigarettes is a really cool premise because it ties into the original show and then somehow still takes on an identity of its own and then also teaches the audience a lesson. I remember seeing this episode and being like, smoking is so bad, and like trying to get my parents to stop smoking because like I thought that was such a big issue, but that's exactly what Disney wanted to do. They wanted to lead a message about smoking, and they did. The fact that it's a older sister to her younger brother is very thoughtful and sweet, and thinking that, like, oh, kids at this age could smoke was, like, such a big revelation to me. I was like, no, there's no way somebody's smoking. But the fact that it was Cory's girlfriend even shows, like, oh, wow, like, anybody can smoke. It's really a big issue. And they take it so seriously, and they don't kind of condescend the audience for watching it. They really kind of explain that, like, this is something that is normal, and it doesn't have to be, and we don't have to keep viewing it as such. I really applaud them for taking it to this level. I really wish they did it with other That's So Raven episodes, but the rest is just like the regular show. But I, for one, am happy we got this conversational episode. Like I said, I feel like it would be just as relevant to have it in school nowadays to show kids that it's a serious thing that happens. And I really wish more television did this nowadays, not calling them special episodes, but hot take episodes where we actually talk about things going on. But I guess we've all kind of wandered to social media because we don't trust the scripted shows to not be worried about that. I don't know. That's why teen TV is never the same. But yeah, That's So Raven did such a good job, and it was definitely before the era when things got a lot more censored, so of course they got away with this really good episode. And I'd recommend anybody showing this to their kids when they get older. I really liked revisiting That's So Raven, and I definitely hope to do more in the future. If you guys have any episode recommendations or things you think I should cover about this show, please let me know, because I don't know it super well. And until next time, everybody, if you want more 2000s nostalgia content, don't forget to like and subscribe and show your friends Johnny 2000. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great day.